everyone, and welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel Mba. On today's episode, we'll be talking to three amazing individuals about what's going on in their lives and what's currently going on in Iran. It's going to be a hard episode and an emotional one, but it's definitely one worth watching. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by Ladan Jahankhah and her daughter, Liliana. It's a pleasure to have you guys here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
So I wanted to find out a little bit about what brought you to Newfoundland and Labrador and what your experience has been like since you've been here.
Yeah. My daughter and I are living here around 3 months. I'm as an international student, studied Master of Education in Memorial University, and my daughter is studying in St. Andrew School, grade 2. We have lots of happy times here because I can meet lots of friendly and nice people here. Unfortunately, I can find a job as a general and find on-campus job in university too. But unfortunately, my daughter and I are here alone without my husband because he couldn't able to get a visa yet, and we are waiting for him.
So with your husband being stuck in Iran, what is that experience like for you with everything going on back there? And do you mind explaining for our viewers exactly what's going on in Iran right now?
Unfortunately, as you know, women, because of right of women in Iran, there is some violence in Iran for women, people, and government. Because unfortunately, women in Iran don't have any basic rights. For example, we have to wear hijab, and we do not have any choice for it. For example, when we were living in Iran, my daughter can't play in a park without me, and most of parents must take care of their children, and I have to put the hijab for myself, and it's so terrible, especially in summer. Imagine somebody force you to do this, do that without ask you your option, give you any choice, and it's so hard for us because all of us as an international students have had a good life in our country in terms of financially, in terms of professionally, and in terms of having good job in our country. But the most and important reason that we immigrate to Europe or in Canada, in America, is that we do not have the basic calm and basic freedom in our country, unfortunately.
So since you moved here and you've gotten a chance to experience life here versus life back in Iran,
yeah,
I've noticed that it's been a little bit hard for you, and I were talking earlier about that difference.
Yeah.
What is it like emotionally for you now that you're here but your husband isn't able to be here with you? How are you handling that, knowing that he's back in Iran and it's not always... It's okay, you can take your time.
Sorry.
No, you don't ever have to be sorry. This is a hard thing, and you're going through I couldn't imagine being in your shoes. And I understand it must be very scary and hard to not have someone so close to you here when you need them.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you know, all our family members are very connected with each other. And it's a hard,
Do you want to take a break?
Yeah.
We can take a break.
I'm okay. It's a hard situation for both of us, especially for her. She misses her dad a lot. And I sent a message to a nice MP, Member of Parliament in Newfoundland, because we are living there now, and I need a person as a official person to help us because of our hard situation here. I sent an email to Thompson. She answered my email, checked our process visa, my husband process visa, and unfortunately just she told me that you have to wait. And I found another member of parliament, Seamus Reagan. I sent an email to him. His assistant told me that because Thompson now follow up our documents, I have to wait. But unfortunately, I'm waiting a couple of weeks for him. But I need absolutely
Support.
Yeah, his support.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to assume here. So you guys have gone through the normal immigration process like anyone trying to emigrate.
Yeah.
But you're asking for support because of the situation going on in Iran, the safety issue, and the fact that it's not conducive.
Because now it's more than 5 months that, 7 months that we are waiting for my husband visa, and it's more than the processing time in IRCC side. But I want to know that who is responsible for it, because I know that the Canadian government support all the people around the world, and I need the support too. Because there are more than 1,000 women in Canada and more than or near 100 women in St. John's in our situation. Wow. They are separated from a family, and it's totally hard because these days we are experiencing this situation too. And I need the government's help. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask a personal question of you right now. So if there was anything someone like me could do to support you and the other hundreds of women who are living in St. John's without their partners, who know their partners are stuck in an area that's not safe and it's not home for them when you're separated, what could we do to support you?
Because as you know, the situation in our country, especially in these days because of the violence in Iran, we can connect with our family, and maybe 1 week we can call to my husband. And my daughter is crying because he misses her dad. And just I need the government help us, and I want to people and official people in Canada help us to reduce this time of process for open work permit visa, closed work permit visa, or some students who are in Iran and want to come here and be free, experience freedom. I'm so lucky because I'm living here with my daughter. My daughter is so talented. She can sing, she can play music, she can dance. Yeah. And I'm so lucky and so happy because we are tolerating lots of terrible situation here, but she's living here as a free person. But I'm so sad because of children in Iran. Yeah, because they do not have this opportunity. They do not have any basic educational facility. For example, most of schools in Iran, especially in south of Iran, in Sistan and Baluchistan, don't have any equipped playground. Equipped, do not have any notebook, any suitable shoes. Yeah, and it's so terrible. In one of my lessons this semester, I wrote about the difficulties and hard situation in Sistan Baluchistan as my midterm paper, and my professor, Dr. Crick Anderson, admired me and told me that you can use it as a conference, because we do not have this, we do not have experienced this hard situation in any part of world. Yeah, I need Canadian government, Canadian people to help people in Iran, especially children, because, and last night I can't sleep a wink because one of 10 years old boy, son, killed in Iran because of the violence. Yeah, and me as a mom, when my daughter has a fever, I'm become crazy. Imagine one of us be as his mom. It's not, I don't know, I can say it. Yeah, it's a tough situation in Iran.
I have to thank you for taking the time to share your story, for giving us a chance to take a peek as to what's going on.
Thank you.
Before I let you go, I would be remiss to not talk to my favorite little person on the couch. Liana, I want to thank you for coming and spending time with me today. Before I let you go, can you tell me your favorite thing that you've gotten to do since you've been here?
My school, and I would like to be here because here is so good for me. I love here, and I go to school, I just playing, and it's so fun.
That's so exciting. Now, what's your favorite subject in school?
Playing outside.
Recess?
Yes.
That's my favorite subject too. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. And
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back, everybody. So we took a minute to catch our breath, and now we're joined by Reihaneh Mahdavi. Reihaneh, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for your invitation.
So we got a chance to talk to Ladan, but I want to know your story and your experience. So how has it been since you got here? What are you studying, and what's going on for you?
Yeah, it has been very different from my own experience back in my home country, Iran. And I'm studying Master of Management at MAN. And we've been here for around 3 to 4 months. I'm here with my husband, fortunately. And back there in Iran, I had a master's degree in industrial engineering, and my husband was an occupational therapist. He was working there for 10 years, so he had 10 years of professional working experience back then, and I was working as a production planner for 4 years. So we had a full life back there. We had our own house, we had our own car, although we got those by very difficulties, but we had our own life back there. We had our own families, but we left everything back just to have freedom. We came here to have freedom, the basic rights. So now here we are, we really have the freedom we wanted, but we sacrificed lots of things. Yeah.
You left your home, a life you've built, you've put in the work already.
Yeah.
And you're here having to rebuild that.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the point, because we need to start from scratch, because you know, although we have lots of experience in our area of expertise, like my husband is an occupational therapist, and he's really good in his job, and we knew that Canada needs lots of labor, there is lots of shortage on labor here, so that's why we decided to come here. But now we and many other Iranian people and other people from different nationalities here are doing general jobs, yeah, because we are not qualified here. Yeah, and I don't know, the Canadian government needs people with our expertise. We need to work in those areas, and they don't use us for that, because they say we are not qualified, and that's the big issue here. I'm not sure why there is such a contradiction here. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a personal question. You've gone through the school and you have the documentation that, yeah, says you're qualified, but you've moved here and all of that has been said null and void and, exactly, isn't good enough for some reason. How is that affecting you guys on a personal level, not just a job or your financials? How does that feel for you as a person?
It feels like we are going back like 10 years in our life. We are just repeating the same stages from studying and finding a very basic entry-level job. And I think we are wasting kind of our precious year of our life here. Not wasting that, but you know, we are repeating our life here. We had the experience back there, and so they tell us that we need to be registered here in order to be able to work as an occupational therapist or any other area. So it's really hard for us, because you know, I understand that every country has its own rules and regulations, but when in our situation we have a better life here. I understand that, because we have our own freedom, things that people in our country, Iran, women especially, are fighting, are dying on the streets for that. But still, it is not the perfect thing that we wanted, you know.
I absolutely have to agree with you, because you guys have the qualifications and you're looking for a way to prove your qualifications and to be able to contribute to the province in a meaningful manner. So I'm going to ask you a little bit now about what's going on in Iran and what that experience is like for you as a woman, for a woman who was living there and a woman who's here now watching people she loves and care about be away from her. What is that like for you?
You know, it's very hard. People in Iran, especially women, are very talented, are very brave. They really deserve more, but they don't have basic needs, they don't have their basic rights. They are the second gender in Iran. Men have the power over everything, men, So women have to take men's permission for everything, like for going outside the country. When they get married, they need their husband's permission for over everything. You know, even if they get divorced, they don't have the authority to have their kids because, yeah, the husband gets the baby, and they have to wear hijab. You know, everyone I think now knows that, and people even can get killed because of their improper hijab based on what the Islamic regime defines it. So that's very tough for women in Iran because they are very brave, and as I said, they deserve more. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you that the women deserve more. You and I were talking earlier about the difference in Iran now versus the Iran of before, and how a lot of people might not know what Iran was like before this time. What would you want people to know about the Iran of before?
Yeah, Iranian people have a very rich culture. Iran was very advanced in around 44 years ago. We had a very strong currency. Now we are the least precious. We have the least precious currency around the world, and we had a very powerful passport. We could travel to more than 90 countries without a visa, but now we can't travel anywhere with our passports. And yeah, you know, we had everything. We had women as pilots, but now women can't have a simple job back in Iran. Women had a great role, had an important role, leading actually many sectors back before the Islamic regime came to Iran. But now everything has got back to over 1400 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's very awful because we know we had a rich culture, we have a rich culture, but we can't have that now. So that's very sad for us. Yeah.
So a lot of people might not know what's going on in Iran because it's not something we see on the news regularly. Like it's something that's floating through social media, but it's not something we see on the news. So if you were to explain to someone, just if you had a few minutes to say, this is what's going on and this is how you can help us get the word out, what would you want us to know and what can we do?
Yeah, well, there's lots of things happening in Iran now. It all started the most recent one started with the death of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old woman who was killed for not wearing the hijab, not wearing properly the hijab, yeah. And after that, after she was killed, people got very angry. They came on the street protesting against these crazy rules. And now the government is shooting people just because they are protesting in peace. They are very, very savage. They are killing people on the street. Even they are killing kids. You know, as Ladan said, last night they killed a 10-year-old boy. And even if they get the body, they don't give it back to you because they don't want people to have something to grieve for, you know. That's why we have seen pictures of his body covered with lots of ice in their own house because they didn't, his parents didn't want to give his body to the government. And this is something I think it's beyond the imagination of many people around the world. But this is just our lives back in Iran. And I really want the people from over the world to take action. I've seen lots of them have talking about the situation, but it's just talking. I haven't seen any action. So we want them, especially people, ask their own governments to do something about the situation in Iran, because I think it would be more effective if the citizens ask their own governments to do something, because we have been asking for months now, and if we don't see any action, and it would be great. Yeah.
So you and I have gotten to talk a lot about this before we started filming. What can we do to support Iranians here and now within St. John's? What can we do to support your community and your people as we continue to advocate and ask our government to act on your behalf?
It's a very difficult procedure for us to get a PR, a permanent residence here. We are here on work permit and a study permit, and to change it, to convert it to the permanent resident, it's a very difficult process. I think if the government can ease this process for us, and if it's possible to have a stream for women, especially in Iran, to come here to have an opportunity to get out of the situation back in Iran, it would be a very good action for them, for us. That's what we want, another stream for women who are living in miserable situation back in Iran.
Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
It was my pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll be right back, everyone. I want to thank my guests today. A very special thank you to Ladan, Rehana, and the ever so adorable Liliana. It was truly heartwarming to hear what's going on in their lives as they adjust to life in Newfoundland and Labrador, and about what's currently going on in Iran. I invite all of you to take some time today or throughout your week to take a look at what's going on in Iran and find out how you can help. Thank you, and we'll be back next time.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
If you have a comment about this program, we'd love to hear it. Email or call us, or send us your feedback through social media.